Ukrainian forces have gone on the offensive in southeastern Russia in an apparent bid to distract Kyiv's troops and draw them away from frontline breakthroughs that threaten Moscow's control over the southern portion of the country. The Institute for the Study of War said on Wednesday that Russian forces launched localized offensive operations in the Avdiivka area of Donetsk Oblast and southwest of Orikhiv in western Zaporizhzhia Oblast, two areas that have seen particularly heavy fighting since the opening of Ukraine's counteroffensive operation. The fresh Ukrainian attacks, the think tank said, are likely intended to fix Ukrainian forces away from the Robotyne area, where Russian troops won the most promising gains in months of heavy fighting and raised the prospect of Kiev's forces driving southwest towards the Russian logistical hub at Tokmak. Avdiivka is one of the most heavily fortified Ukrainian-held locations in the Donetsk region and a key strategic prize. Russian forces have also conducted grinding offensive operations for relatively minimal territorial gains near Avdiivka for the past year and a half of the war, and the Russian military command is likely aware that an effort to capture Avdiivka would require more and higher quality units than those currently deployed in the area, the ISDO's Tuesday bulletin said. ISU suggested that a successful encirclement and capture of the settlement and the Ukrainian grouping there would very likely require more forces than Russia has currently dedicated to the Avdiivka Donetsk city effort. The Russian offensives around Avdiivka and Orikhiv, the ISU surmised, are likely aimed at fixing Ukrainian forces and preventing Ukrainian command from transferring reserves to critical areas of the front in western Zaporizhzhia Oblast. Ukrainian commanders and political leaders have been sounding the alarm in recent days. In general, the enemy continues to press in Avdiivka and Mariinka directions, Alexander Stupun, a spokesperson for the Joint Press Center of Ukraine's Eastern Military Grouping, said on Tuesday. Andriy Yermak, the head of President Volodymyr Zelensky's office, wrote on Telegram that Avdiivka is under massive attacks by Russian artillery and aviation. The think tank notes that capturing Avdiivka, one of the most heavily fortified parts of the Donbas front line, would require far more Russian forces than currently deployed. ISDO has observed no recent Russian deployments to this line. Meanwhile, Ukrainian armed forces continued counteroffensive operations near Bakhmut in western Zaporizhzhia Oblast, reportedly with advances in that area. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Ukrainian forces achieved partial success near Andriivka, 7 kilometers southwest of Bakhmut. The Ukrainian General Staff confirmed up to 3 Russian battalions conducted an attack in the Avdiivka direction, and ISW has observed footage of fighting in the area. Russian forces conducted offensive operations along the Kupiansk-Svatov-Kreminna line, near Bakhmut, along the Avdiivka-Donetsk city line, in western Donetsk Oblast, in the Donetsk-Zaporizhzhia Oblast border area, and in western Zaporizhzhia Oblast, and advanced in some areas on 10 October. The Ukrainian Resistance Center reported that Luhansk Oblast occupation authorities are cracking down against Ukrainian underground communication networks. Ukrainian forces launched a large-scale offensive operation with the goal of taking Avdiivka into a pocket. They engaged fighter jets, bombers, helicopters, artillery, hundreds of tanks and armored fighting vehicles, and thousands of troops, all within hours. The offensive operation started at 5 a.m. with intensive bombardment. Russians dropped dozens of 500 kilograms and 1,500 bombs on the settlement. Ukrainian military officials have not commented on the reasons, but the website Military Land, which reports on Ukraine's armed forces, said that there were rumors that SAC's dismissal was connected to the brigade's performance on the battlefield His unit, alongside Ukraine's 82nd Air Assault Brigade, helped break through Russian lines in southern Ukraine during the summer counteroffensive aimed at recapturing Moscow-occupied territory. Fighting on the Tokmak front near the city of Orikhiv in the summer, the 47th Brigade was one of the first to take part in a counteroffensive in the Zaporizhzhia region. In a boost for Kyiv's efforts, under SAC's command, it entered the village of Robotyne on 22 August, from which residents were evacuated. The website said orders were not being carried out, which included sending snipers, mortar and artillery crews to the front as assault infantry. Ukraine's gains in Novoprokopivka, they are part of the push to the crucial Russian logistical hub of Tokmak, and further on, Melitopol, in what is likely a plan to split the Russian occupiers group in southern Ukraine in two. In the weeks following the breakthrough, Ukraine is moving forward, albeit slowly. Russians attempt to conduct counteroffensives in small groups, yet the main problem are minefields and Russian artillery, aided by drones. The Russo-Ukrainian war is a war of drones, says Serhiy Turchin, a surgent part of Ukraine's Battle of Robotyne, where in the last month several brigades have gnawed through 3 Russian lines of fortifications. There are reconnaissance drones and drones delivering ordnance. Sergeant Turchin's 65th Mechanized Brigade is stationed in the little patch of blue recently regained land together with the 47th Brigade, which broke through to Robotyne on 22 August, and the 10th Special Forces Regiment.